Happy day. My name is Dr. Vijayalakshmi. I head the BBA Shift 2 department. Today let's see a topic on branding, which is part of the marketing management subject. All of you must be knowing what is branding, but in today's module, we can understand it with more examples. So before we move on to the topic, let's understand the difference between product and a brand. All of us must generally confuse with the name product and the brand together. So brand is generally, it's a name of a product. So if we see in our place where we live, there could be a fan, there could be a tube light. So these are called as the product. But when I say Ketan, so we say it's a brand name for the product called fan. So same way when I say tube light, it is a product. So the name of the product tube light, if I say Philips, then it is a brand name for the product, right? And when we talk about companies like Unilever, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, all these are also called as a brand name. If you go further, LG, Panasonic, all these are also called as a brand name. So today we'll try to understand more on the following topics like general first understanding on what is branding and the functions of branding, advantages of brand names, and then branding attributes, types of brands and kinds of brand names. So let's go in detail on each of the topic. Right. So as I just said sometime before, the difference between a product and a brand. So let's understand more in detail what is called as a brand. So to put it simply, brand is nothing but it's an identification of a product. As I told sometime before, fan is a product and Ketan is the name that we give it to the product fan. So here the Ketan is the name that goes as the brand name that helps in identifying the product. So the part of the brand that can be spoken, the name that can be spoken is what we call it as a brand name. And then we have a brand mark. So it is always, when I say like say a tick mark, all of us will get connected to Nike, right? So because we know Nike is a shoe brand, right? So the product here is shoe and the brand is here is Nike, but the way that which we connect it to identify the product is by a tick mark. So what goes as a brand mark is nothing but a unique symbol, design, color or lettering that is part of the brand. So if you look at few of the examples given here, Dove is a soap, right? All of us know, and it is a product of Unilever. Unilever is the company name and Dove is the brand name, and the symbol there that's given here as a like say a bird symbol, pigeon, is the brand mark of the Dove soap. So same way we can look out Unilever, this is the company name, and here we have Unilever written in a different style. So which we also call it as a brand mark because we can just check out lettering that is part of the brand. So here this also becomes as a brand mark. There is a difference, brand mark and logo, there is a difference. So what is a logo? Brand name or the company name is what we call it as a logo. So if you look at, all of us must be knowing this is a very popular brand, LG. So LG normally what do we call it as? Life is good. So here this life is good is what we call it as a logo. I'm repeating one more time, it's any distinctive way of writing a brand name or the company name. So here it goes as life is good is the logo for the LG company. Same way, if you look at this Pulsar bike, we can understand it looks more manly. So where it is like say it's used by the age group of people from 18 to 35. So it gives a brand character. The personality is depicted in the form of the two-wheeler. So here brand character is any personality that identifies the brand. So here it goes as Pulsar. So basically it is, and it says definitely male. So they try to connect that this product, this particular bike is for the people of that particular age of 18 to 35. And then we have something called as a brand image. All of us must be knowing this very popular brand called iPhone, Apple, right? So when we say Apple or when we say iPhone, the first thing that comes into our mind is the image that what we connect to the particular brand. So a lot of other things comes with it, quality, trust, satisfaction, many other things. So when we say brand image, that is the fundamental aims that satisfaction the consumer finds from a product. So let's move on to the next topic called as functions of branding. Why do company need to go for branding a product? Because it gives all these advantages when it comes to a brand. So this we can call it as functions. Why do we need to have a brand name for ourselves? See, all of us when we go to a supermarket, we know there are a lot of products that are kept next, right? If you go to a supermarket, generally you could see a shelf fully stacked with biscuits, a shelf fully stacked with like say juices or like say all home grocery products. But how do we identify that this belongs to this particular company and this is that particular brand? If there is no differentiation in terms of names of those products, how do we even recognize as to what is that we need to buy? So here on that basis, we have certain functions of branding. Why do we need to name a product? Why do we need to have a symbol or a sign or a logo towards a product? The first and foremost is identification. As I just told you, when you go to a grocery store and you wanted to buy a soap, all white color soap cannot be Dove, blue color bottle cannot be a floor cleaner, right? So we need to understand that it has to have a name which helps us in easily identifying, yes, this is Harpic and this is Domex, or this is Dove and this is Palmolive soap. So we need to have an identification. That's where the brand name helps us in identifying the product. Then legal right. So if you try to register your name as such and such, there is nobody else who can copy your brand name. So that's what we call it as a legal right. And as I said sometime before, iPhone example, so when I say that I have an iPhone, so automatically along with the brand name, it also gives me a prestige, right? That I am able to possess that particular product. So then the brand name itself gives a quality for the product, right? So generally, why do we go when we, like say normally when we say toothpaste, we know it's a product, but we say Colgate, and Colgate, the name, it's been so popular, we know that it is something which is good for teeth, or for that matter Pepsodent. Toothpaste is the product and Pepsodent is the brand name. So we know that it assures certain quality, or for that matter Dettol, Savlon. So when we say these are antiseptic, the product category is antiseptic there, but when we say Dettol, we know that is one which helps us in going to get 100% germ free, right? So it talks about quality automatically when we say the brand name. And then repeated sales because of the brand name. So people, I have bought once, so automatically what will happen, I have become brand loyal towards it, so which means I will definitely go for a repeat purchase. I will keep buying the same product because I have a assurance about the quality of the product. Then it is easy for the companies, the manufacturers, to promote the product, because as I told, if I say that I wanted a shampoo, but when I go to the store, I should know that I want this particular shampoo. So how do I go and ask? I need to know the name of it so that it's easy for me to go make a purchase. And the same time for the manufacturers, with that name only, they try to promote it towards the customer. So it helps in promotion. So when they make an advertisement, they say Lays chips, right? So unless and until they say it is Lays, we won't be able to differentiate it from an other brand. So that name of the product helps in promoting the product. Then no fake brands. As I said, legal right, because it has been registered, there is nobody else who can copy your brand name, right? So it also ensures that because it is registered, it is legalized, there cannot be no fake brands. If there are fake brands, but there are fake brands in the market where they try to alter the alphabet a little and then they try to sell it as a product brand that which is already there in the market, but as it's always consumer has to be beware. So we'll have to identify that this is not the product that we wanted to buy. So there will be some kind of a change in the packaging or in the alphabet that what they use in the product, the branding, there will be a difference. So where the consumer only has to be aware and ensure that they don't get into, end up buying those products which are fake in the market. Next, let's move on to advantages of brand names. So there are three things I've given there. So there are three stakeholders towards a brand. As a consumer, when I wanted to buy, I look out whether the brand is like say it should be known to me, and I wanted to know that it is popular also. Then only I will make a purchase. So as far as the manufacturer is concerned, these are the advantages that a brand name gives to a manufacturer. It gives a brand image, it helps in identification, because manufacturer is not the only person who makes this product into the, who ensure that this product is available in the market. There are other competitors are there for these manufacturers. So what they need to do is, they should ensure that they are different from the other people who are there in the market. So a brand name helps people, the manufacturer, in identification, reputation. As a company, it gives you, your name gives you your reputation, and your reduce the ad cost, because already it is popular. There are people who are brand loyal and they are buying your product. So you don't need to spend, see, if you take for that matter Johnson & Johnson, they don't need to do a promotion at all, because they are a popular brand by themselves. They've got their market share, they've got their brand loyalty. So in such case, they don't need to spend so much on their advertisement. So we say reduce at the ad cost. Ad, when I mean here, is advertising cost. Then to the consumers, if you say it is fixed rate, I know if it is a Dove soap or if it is a Pantene shampoo or any product for that matter, this product will be available only at this particular rate. So there cannot be, like say, place where the seller can sell it at a higher rate. So it is, yeah, fixed rate. And when it comes to quality, as we saw sometime before on the functions of branding, a brand name itself assures a quality, right? So that is an advantage to the consumer. And first and foremost important one when it comes to brand name to the consumer is the satisfaction. When I say that, like, there are a couple of people who buy only a jewelry from a particular shop. It could be GRT, it could be Tanishq, it could be Umudi Bangaru, a particular brand of jewelry shop only. People by and large keep going. It because of what? Because you have a satisfaction that what you derive. That satisfaction could be the way they salespeople treat you, or the products that they give you as choice, right? Or a sentiment that what you have towards the brand. It could be anything. There are a lot of reasons. But your satisfaction is what matters when it comes to a brand name. And the last one is the distributor. So all of you must be knowing a distributor is nothing but this wholesaler, retailer, all these people who help connecting the manufacturer and the consumer. Basically the middleman and the one who connects it to the consumer, the end terminal product where it gets reaching to the customer. So here the distributor, for them it becomes easy for promoting, because already the manufacturer is doing, consumer is also aware about the product. So they don't need to much do about promotion in terms of a branded product, and when they stock a branded product, it is easy for them to sell it out to the customer. They don't need to do a special promotion. And as what, like the second point also I've covered, it's easy to sell. So you don't need to take effort. If I say if I'm Nilgiris, or if I call myself as Spencer, I don't need to, like, say, promote a brand of a grocery or a oil, not required, because already the brand is being made popular by the manufacturer, and I have my own brand as Nilgiris and Spencer, so automatically people will come and buy it from my store. So that's when it comes to the distributor. So these are the few brand attributes. So whenever we say a brand, then it promises a high level of quality, which you may feel it is a little overlapping with the functions of branding. It's worth the price it commands. Generally, when we say if it's brand product, then always there is an understanding the prices are going to be high. Yes, obviously, reason is they are taking effort in terms of ensuring quality is given to the consumer. So there is worth the price it commands, and then very popular in comparison to competitors. So generally, if we say Pepsi, immediately what comes into our mind is a Coke, right? So that's what, very popular in comparison to competitors. Another example I could tell you is a Colgate and a Pepsodent. Then they have every brand will have an USP. USP is nothing but the unique selling proposition, right? So every product will have something which is special about themselves, and that's what makes the brand more popular when compared to, or more, I could say popular only compared to the other products in the market. Then feeling of pride and confidence. As I said, iPhone, if like all of us have a mobile phone with us, so it could be of different brands, but we know iPhone, Apple is something which is like, say, we know it is expensive, and the features of the product, the brand is completely different from the other phones that's there in the market. So when I say I possess that, so automatically it leads to a feeling of pride and confidence. And then special unique emotions. There are, as I said sometime before, the jewelry example. So if you take jewelry itself as an example, there are people who buy only from a specific store. Reason being that you have a lot of emotions. Maybe your grandparents bought it from the same place. You have a sentiment. We would have definitely seen on buying motives. There are people who buy with rational thinking, and there are people who buy emotional. And when it is emotional, we talk more about, like, say, the connection that what we have towards the brand. So the special unique emotions is also one other attribute towards the brand. So next we are moving on to types of brands. So I'll try to explain it here itself before moving on to the next slide. So when we talk about types of brands, it's classified into two. One is manufacturer brand and the other one is the distributor brand. So what is a manufacturer brand? Under that you can check out the one in the pink color which says national, regional, advertising, blanket and multiple and individual brands. So I'll give you a quick example here. So if we take like, say, national brand, Amul, the taste of India. All of us know Amul as a brand. So Amul, we call it as taste of India. So in the tagline itself, you know it is a brand that is available throughout the country. But if I'm going to say Avin or a Milma, right? So it's a brand of a milk which is there in Tamil Nadu, which is there in Kerala, right? Avin and Milma. So which we call it as a regional brand. Another example I could give it to that is, like, say, if you take newspaper, if I say Dinatandi, Dinamalar, right? Then that's more towards Tamil Nadu, which we can call it as a regional brand. When it comes to national brand, I may call it as an Hindu or a Times of India. And when it comes to advertising brand, the one thing that's unique about advertising brand is, as I said in the initially, when I say a tick mark, we know tick mark is a symbol that is associated with Nike shoe brand, right? So if they are making an advertisement, they make a specification, they make it very prominent on the symbol of the product, right? Symbol of the brand, symbol of the brand, then we call it as a advertising brand. So where it emphasizes the symbol towards the brand. Then we have a blanket or a family brand, and then a multiple or a individual brand. And then there are, let me say one thing, under distributors brand, whatever it's mentioned here, private store, dealer and house brand, all means the same. So we broadly call it as distributors brand. Going further, the other three I had already explained. So when it comes to blanket, single, family brand, so if you take Godrej, right? So Godrej we know, I think most of you must be knowing, even Synthol soap belongs to Godrej. So it comes into the category of soap. But generally when we say Godrej, the one thing that comes into our mind is the cupboards, right? But it's not only cupboards, they also have locks. So when we say Godrej, it is one brand name given for all products of the manufacturer. So they may be into different products that they manufacture, but for all they call it as Godrej. The another example that I can tell for blanket or single or a family brand could be even LG. Right? Because LG has a lot of products, but we call all put together as LG only. Then we have multiple or an individual brand. For this, the best example is like, say, I have given here Dabur, but another example also could be Unilever. So we generally, when we say Dabur, the first thing that comes into our mind is a Chyawanprash, right? Dabur Chyawanprash, which we normally take it for cold, right? But other than that, if you know, Vatika is also a brand that belongs to Dabur, right? And there is like, say, the Real fruit juice, right? That also comes under Dabur. So multiple or an individual brand is nothing but a firm adopts a different brand names for each of their products. So, but as a company, we identify it as a Dabur with the tree as their symbol, but they have many other products under them. There is a juice, there is a hair oil, there is a health product like Chyawanprash, but all has got an individual name for itself, and that's the reason we call it as a multiple or a individual brand. So the distributor brand, as I said sometime before, all four the meaning is the same, right? When we say it as a private brand, store brand, dealer brand and house brand, the meaning is the same. So what do I mean by that? So if you look at this, I think you must have seen it, or you can just Google it after hearing to this video, right? There is a brand called RMKV. They are a clothing store, right? In RMKV, they came out with, the personality here is Jyotika. So you must have seen this, or just Google search. This sari which is there in the display is a 50,000 color sari. So this sari was like, say, launched by RMKV, and it is the product that belongs only to them. So if you wanted to buy a 50,000 color sari, and this was, if I am not wrong, released towards one of the Diwali. So if you wanted to buy this, then you will have to go only to RMKV. You cannot find this 50,000 color sari anywhere else, right? Because it was something that was brought only by RMKV, and this is a product that belongs to them. And same way, there is one more I have given, there is a Prince Jewelry. Prince Jewelry is, they are popular for their lightweight jewelry. So if anybody who wanted to buy jewelry for their wedding, right, and their collections are unique, and they say that they have the lightweight jewelry. So that is something which is unique. So if you wanted to buy anything related to it, then a lightweight jewelry, you will have to go only to Prince. Another example I can quote towards is like, say, if you go to Nilgiris or Spencer's, you can check out an atta that belongs to Nilgiris, or a bread that belongs to Nilgiris, or a milk that belongs to Nilgiris. So which we call it as a brand of that particular store. So that can also come as an example. But do they manufacture the product by themselves? They may source it from somewhere, but when they sell it in their store, they will sell it in their name, right? Their dealer name, their store name, or that's the reason we call it as a house brand also. So the last one is like, say, the kinds of brand names. This is also very interesting, right? There are totally 4 types of kinds of brand names. The first one is a coin name, suggestive name, descriptive name, and an arbitrary name. What is a coin name? See, all of us must be familiar with this brand called Parker pen. The most famous and popular one when it comes to pen is a Parker pen, right? How did it got its name? Right? That's why we give it as an example for a coin name. So Parker pen was named after George Stafford Parker. So he is the one who invented the Parker pen, and the name of the pen itself became his own name, and that's the reason we call it as a coin name. So basically, coin name is the manufacturer name itself, the one who invented it. That person's name itself becomes the name of the product. That's what we call it as a coin name. So basically, it stresses more on the producer's identity. The second one is a suggestive name. So here you can check out, I put up a picture of Himalaya anti-hair fall. The line itself says it's an anti-hair fall oil. So obviously people who have a hair fall, they go for this anti-hair fall oil. So that's the reason we call it as a suggestive name. So suggested something about the product or the function. So here it says that product, what is the function of the product? So the brand here is Himalaya. The product is oil, and what the product does? The product basically does, it controls your hair fall, anti-hair fall. So that's the reason we say it is a suggested something about the product or the functions. And then we have a descriptive name. Descriptive name is nothing but it describes the product. So if you check out here, the example given here is like say glucose biscuit. You must also be heard about this Parle G biscuits, right? So when we say glucose, so obviously it is understood that if you're going to have a bite of that biscuit, it's going to give you a lot of energy, right? So that's why we call it as a descriptive name and it describes about the product. And for the last one, I don't have an image put up here, but I can give you an example. An arbitrary name that says is neither relates to the product nor the producer. So generally it doesn't mean any of it. So it's not the manufacturer name or it doesn't tell anything as to what the product does, but it is just a arbitrary name. So an example that I can give here is again going back to same Apple. So all of us know Apple is a brand that was invented by brought in by Steve Jobs, right? Why did he name it as Apple? No reason. He liked the fruit called apple, it seems, right? And because of that he has named the brand as Apple. So there is no connection towards the product is not called as Steve Jobs. If it had been so, then we would have called it as a coined name, right? But he liked the fruit category. Apple is the most favorite of Steve Jobs, it seems. And based on that, he has kept the company's name also as Apple. So there is nothing connected towards the product they deal. They deal with iPhones, they deal with laptops, right? All technological products, but still no connection towards it. It's just a symbol of fruit. But still, the name is, that's the reason we call it as an arbitrary name, because it neither relates to the product nor to the producer. So after listening to all that what I wanted to tell, I just want you to try out the activity that's there as last part of this video, where you can just check out say whatever you have seen, whatever I've told you, if you have understood it or not, or to have more fun, you can just check out the things that's there at the last part of the video. So I've given few things here. So guess the logo. So here you have from A to Z. So almost say 26 boxes are here. Each one replicates one company's logo. So you can have fun trying to identify which one is what. So it has all sectors, technology, FMCG products, all are there here. And then there is two videos I've given. One is say level 1 only I've put. It's all there in Google also, YouTube also. So I thought to make it fun for you, I've put it here. So you can just check out. There are totally 3 links I've posted. So this is more like a connection game. So where with that you can identify which is the product and which is the brand. Happy learning.